Oh, I'm not bleeping anything.
But
Oh,
we'll get demonetized.
all right, Clay. I got
Yes.
something I got to propose to you. All
Okay.
right, I've got this idea, and it's a slasher film. Now, hear me out. I
Okay.
know slasher films can be a little passe, yeah, a little derivative, maybe,
Yeah, done to death.
but I've got a great idea. Okay, so
Okay.
I was hoping you could try to get some of your Savannah College alumni in here,
Okay.
and perhaps we can film, a slasher movie with some of your non-acting Savannah people, and we
Okay.
can create. And they're going to go out into the woods of Georgia, and they're going to make a movie about a slasher. Look, it's going to be great. I've got this whole script written up, and think of Lord of the Rings,
Okay.
epic slasher adventures. It's going to be about 2.5 hours long, and
Okay.
all I need is about 150 million.
Okay. That's ambitious. Instead, you can have about 25,000, and I can't help you with the staff.
Okay, I guess I'll just go to Virginia and just hopefully dig up someone in that area.
Yeah, that sounds like what a kind of a neat lead into the film we're getting ready to review.
Well, I know it's very coincidental, by the way. That had nothing to do with the film that we watched. Of course, this is a truly a dream that I do have in the works. But yeah,
Okay, well,
it is coincidental.
never call me a dream killer. I hate it.
So this is Cinematic Suffering, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Yeah, I was about to say I'm Clay. I'm not Clay. I'm Jason. That's Clay over there.
I'm Clay, and
It's
you're
Clay.
Jason. Yeah,
I'm
and
Jason, definitely.
and we are Cinematic Suffering, and what we do on this
Mhm.
channel, this little
FM.
pathway to the internet that you found, is that we review and make fun of horror movies. We're all about the horror movies here on Cinematic Suffering, and this week we're bringing you getAWAY.
And
getAWAY.
yeah, we have to emphasize get away because what's going on with my spelling here? Get, and then away is all capitalized. So it's very different from the other movie that came out in 2020 of the same name, in the horror genre, where a bunch of people go out into the woods and experience
Yeah,
horrible things.
yeah, like it's every time that I sought out this movie to do research for this episode of the podcast, it took me about 5 minutes to find the right one because so many other people thought to call their horror movie Getaway before these folks got to it. And it's extra baffling because the film is not about a getaway at all in any
No,
way. It you could have called it, I don't know, cinematic suffering if that name wasn't taken.
get away. Like maybe they're thinking, like, you see a person running from a killer and you just want them to get away. Maybe that's what
Maybe.
that might have been. I don't know. I
So
We can't get into the director's head and really filter out what he was thinking on this, because it is a very deep and moving picture that is filled with dips and turns and incredible
and
plot moments.
yes, not a single wart or pimple to be found on this unblemished masterpiece, this unparalleled work of creative genius that we got to give the right credit. It was written and directed by the one and only Blaine Weaver.
The
And if you're
one and
thinking,
only.
yeah, and if you're thinking, who the hell is that? Well, might I suggest you check out his masterwork, Santa Girl. If you aren't familiar
Yes.
with Santa Girl, then maybe you don't like movies, my
Yeah,
friend.
bravo, Santa Girl, a piece de resistance of filmmaking, and a true auteur piece where Blaine was just in the area of Shenandoah, Virginia. And I think that's a city or a place, right? I know it's a university. So
Yes.
and he was doing this Christmas movie called Santa Girl. And you might think to yourself, Jason, Clay, Santa Girl has to be a horror film because obviously this guy just directed a horror film. But no, everyone would be incredibly incorrect. It was
Yes.
a purely beautiful movie about, Santa and a
And
girl.
who likes girls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We assume
No.
Santa likes girls. He's married after all, right? I mean, he could be into
Yeah.
other things. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, could be. I bet Santa's into all kinds of weird stuff. I bet he and Mrs. Claus are into the lifestyle, if you know what I
Yeah, absolutely. They have a little elf BDSM room that they
mean.
have.
Yeah. I've said the safe word so many times. Free me, free me.
Yeah, so Blaine Weaver is our director, our auteur here, and
Yes.
apparently he got this gig through Santa Girl in a way.
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know why this film exists. I don't. It's one of the many baffling questions. It's the same baffling question that we seem to ask ourselves every time we watch a movie like this. Why does it exist? How did you get people to make it? How did you get people to give you money to make it? If you don't want to make a movie, then don't make one.
Right. This is a dream job for Blaine, I believe, because he just got finished working on Santa Girl, and according to my sources in the industry, which
Yes.
happens to be YouTube
Or IMDb.
or IMDb, it looks like that he had filmed Santa Girl in Shenandoah, in the Shenandoah Valley or wherever in Virginia that is, and he was actually going to do another movie, and all the funding fell through for that movie, and then the people who were funding said movie, like Santa Girl and everything, well, what do you have else? What do you have anything else sitting around that you want to make? And then Blaine was like, well, I've got this slasher flick that I've been writing that's been sitting in my desk for about 10 years. I guess we can do that. And they were like, okay, here's some money, and they gave it to him. And I by money, I'm assuming it's about tens of hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, it's not enough to buy a new Mazda 3, but you can get a used one from 2010 probably with the amount of money that I don't know the exact cost, but the basic premise of the movie is that these film students are doing their final project and they're going to do a slasher movie out in the woods. It seems like this very typical setup. The way they kind of usurp expectation is that it has almost nothing to do with filmmaking at all. And instead is just about young people bickering at one another and with high pitched shrill voices. And then they start to murder one another off. If it wasn't for the killer actually filming their crime, I don't think that there would be any movie making happening on this set.
Right. Yeah. So that was I think the overall premise of the movie was to be a meta look at filmmaking and maybe underground filmmaking in a way. And let me give some props to the filmmaking process, because I did listen to an interview with Blaine Weaver, and that was on.
Oh, okay.
It was on Wes Styles' YouTube channel. It's called the Styles Cast.
Okay.
And they went into pretty much the entire, and it's about a 40-minute interview. And yeah, he talked about, the guerrilla style filmmaking that happened, that, I don't believe there were any really permits in place to film anywhere, that they stayed at several different campgrounds throughout the weekends, because the kids who were in the movie were actually students at Shenandoah University, and they had to go to school during the week. And they would film this on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I kind of like that movie aesthetic. I've done it myself, and it was brutal work, especially in the conditions. It was freezing cold for them, and he's pouring fake cold blood on them in probably like 20-degree weather. And
yeah.
I can feel for the artwork. I can feel the love that goes into something like that, and the willingness to do this.
Yeah.
And I give mad props to that kind of filmmaking. Sometimes the overall product that comes out at the very end isn't exactly what you're looking for. And I think that's what we found with getAWAY.
Well, and if you're from what you're telling me, it was a 10-year-old script. I mean, golly, I hope he punched it up a little bit. I mean, it's whatever you wrote 10 years ago might not be that good now.
Well, apparently the actors did punch up the script for him, because there are things that were written in there, and the actors were like, this is something we would never say. And so he's like, oh yeah, well, punch it up, do what you need to do. So he was very open to the actors actually modifying his script. So I thought that was cool too.
Yeah. It was. It's one of those movies that my brain tries to kick out the minute I saw it. Like, we're not going to need that. We need those valuable hard drive space for, I don't know, Masters of the Universe trivia or something,
Right.
So it's, get out of here. Like, I had to rewatch part of it and was like, okay, I've almost forgotten a big chunk of this movie. Like, I just couldn't get it to, I just couldn't get my aging brain to remember.
I just snorted laughing there because this is about a week after the fact that we
Yeah.
saw it. So we've had enough
Yeah.
time to really stew, and I really wanted to go back and do some research myself, just because again, we hadn't seen it in about a week, so things do kind of fade out of what you did. So I had to go back and rewatch some certain things, and then do my own YouTube research. I got most of this. West Styles YouTube channel is just him yelling inside of a truck, but occasionally he does settle down and talk to other people. But yeah,
the guy in a truck giving his opinions to a GoPro is a well-trodden lane on YouTube.
It's classic. That's how I get most of my information, at least. But getAWAY was, I think for us, it was fun to make fun of. I know that.
Hell yeah.
I had a really good time just riffing on it while we were watching it. There was, I guess the plot, if there is any semblance of one, is that, and I didn't really catch this at the beginning. I guess this girl, Maggie, is that her name? The lead character?
Yeah.
I guess lead. I'm kind of quoting because I wasn't really sure who the lead character was because they kept switching. I had a bad breakup and thought it would be cool just to go out on this film retreat with a bunch of kids doing a student film, or they're going to film a horror movie out in the middle of this campground. And so she tags along to try to get over. Oh shit! About ate my microphone there. And it was to try to get over, I guess, her breakup situation. Sure, why not? And then it kind of rolls down from there with just people yelling and bickering at each other and not really getting anything done.
Yeah, like I didn't see, like no one was like, hey, do we want to set up some lights maybe, kind of work on some sound, do film student stuff. Everyone in this movie was so shitty to one another. And I know that a movie needs drama between the characters, but it was just a phalanx of just snark. Everybody was so shitty to one another. Like, hey, I heard you're doing a slasher film for your final. Like, yeah, like even in the trailer, everyone's shitty. They're so shitty to one another.
The producer thinks she's the best producer in the world, even though she hasn't produced anything. They're supposed to have a mask for the killer, and you think you'd have a mask for the killer. You think you'd have something lined up, but apparently they drive out into the country. Someone says stop, and they find a scarecrow that has like a burlap hood on, and says, "Oh, I think I found her killer mask." It's like, shouldn't you have had this taken care of like weeks ago? So I was complaining about that as far as the movie making things, because it's supposed to be meta movie making, but maybe Mr. Weaver was trying to exaggerate certain things that happen within guerrilla filmmaking, but I don't know.
Like if that was the intention, it fell short, because I'd never felt like there was a film within a film at all. I just felt like we were just watching people arguing. And then, once, like, everyone was so unlikable that once the killer does show up, you're just like, you're unmoved. It's like, kill them all off. It was a wasted opportunity. I think it would have been funny if if everybody was the killer. Like, wait a minute, I'm the killer. Like, none of their egos would allow somebody else to be the killer, so they're all the killer. That would be
an amazing concept, dude. I'm just picturing in my head. I mean, that would be an amazing. We should write up a script. Let's do it. Let's trademark that shit.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, and like I admittedly didn't do the same level of research that you did, and it can kind of temper your your criticism of a film a little bit when you realize just how much just backbreaking work and sacrifice went into making it. It does kind of like, okay, I'd be kind of a monster for just totally shitting all over your output here, but my God, it was not good. It was just it was tedious.
No likable characters.
Not a one. And I think that's a fundamental mistake that a lot of low budget horror movies and slasher movies make, is that they treat the cast, or they treat the characters like just disposable fodder for the killer. And that's that's not entertaining at all.
No, it's not. It's one of those things where the thing, God, there's just a couple like bizarre items that we had taken note of when we watched the film. One that stood out was one of the characters' name was Lando.
Yeah.
This dude who looks like a the what is it, the Wish version of Neil Patrick Harris
Yeah.
plays plays this character named Lando, and they mention his name. Either they mention his name or they do a buildup. Where's Lando at? I don't know. Lando should be over here, and then he finally shows up, and it's like, oh, this is Lando. Okay,
Yeah.
well, who's the next character on our list that we need to know the name of? And they kept bringing up new names, and new people kept coming into the story. That I by the time the ending happened, which we are going to spoil it, the ending is it was very. I think they're trying to do some meta moments from Scream as well.
Yeah.
That a lot of people try to do that. I think there's some movies we've seen that could have benefited from those Scream type meta moments, but this one was hard pressed to shoehorn it in.
Yeah, and it's like you're failing if you're reaching for Scream and falling short. I mean, I know it's blasphemous for some horror fans. I don't understand the appeal of those movies. I like the first one a little bit, and then the rest of them, like the last one that I went to in the theater, I was like, why did I go to this? I know I don't like these. It's like it's kind of like it's almost on me at that point. It'd be like
Right,
going
yeah.
to a Jurassic Park movie and being like, well, that was a piece of shit. Yeah, you should have known better.
No, yeah, I get it. And then I like the first Scream a lot. It really subverted expectations and did a lot of cool
Yeah.
stuff that not a lot of things had done up to that point. But the ending is just this girl Maggie turns out to be the killer along with her partner Lando, and it was, they did more filmmaking killing the people than the actual filmmaking
Yeah.
that went on when they were there.
Yeah, I mean, the filmmakers should have been happy that somebody stepped in and started actually giving them content. Like without it, there would be zero filming. Like
Right.
and it's a kind of a missed opportunity because you hear like Sam Raimi talk about in interviews talk about the original Evil Dead and what a labor of love and what a just a soul crushingly difficult shoot that was. Like like for instance, the scene when the girl gets all chopped up and all of her parts are on the floor, that required a false floor with a whole bunch of the people under there operating the individual stuff, and they were under there so long that people were falling asleep holding the puppet rods for like the flopping hand and the
Yeah.
legs and stuff. It was just brutally cold. There was like animal feces all over the floor of the cabin when they first went in to start filming. It was just this abandoned place, and that kind of like inside baseball kind of stuff would have been fun, but it didn't really have any of that kind of appeal for me.
Yeah, I'm wondering about, it seems like, and that was shot with film. Now the movies nowadays are mostly digital, if 90% digital.
Yeah.
If someone's using actual film, then they're trying to go for a real retro look and trying to really go back to the roots. But the
Yeah. And it
and
would be prohibitively expensive at this point, I would
oh
think.
yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
you think, I admire the suffering these people did to make this
Yeah.
movie, but I just don't see the love in a movie like this, like Evil
No.
Dead, the original Evil Dead.
No.
And with Evil Dead, even the original Evil Dead, you can see some of the lower production values of. You can see kind of like the fake, skin, and it's not the total most high production in the world, but you can see the love. You can see the horror and the extreme angles that were used for the camera. And it seems like this, I'm not just like shoving getAWAY into this category. There's plenty of movies out there right now that are doing the same thing but aren't showing the
Yeah.
same love. You're putting these poor kids through the ringer of
Yeah.
cold temperatures and dumping blood on them and putting them in situations that are very rough, and then to have the final what is it, the final product be a meh piece of, okay,
Yeah.
I feel sorry for some of these people. I know it was probably excited for them at the time, and miserable too. And I would be disappointed myself. I'd be like, oh, I thought you would do so much more with what we filmed.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you can relate, like, just going out, doing the band thing. There got to be some nights to where it's like, man, this is really tough. Like, you're not always guaranteed a good audience
Yeah.
or even that many people there. And, just there can be all kinds of stuff happens. A lot of times as an artist, the juice isn't worth the squeeze sometimes if you're going to kind of break it down into dollars and cents. So I do respect the fact that they were doing all of this just for the love of the game and for whatever useless IMDb. I don't want to say it's useless, but that's basically, it's like, I'm on IMDb. It's, and I'm sure a lot of people are.
Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy business for sure. And there's thousands, millions of movies out there that we haven't seen that are just like this and probably worse. I mean, I'm not going to say I hated Getaway. I didn't hate it. It was, for me, it was fun to make fun of, for sure. It gave us a lot of moments like that where we could just dig and riff. So I was happy about
genuine laughter. There was genuine laughter during that one.
Yeah. But I'm not going to say it was the best. It was, of course, if I had a rating or scale, I'd give it, maybe 2.5 stars out of 5.
Yeah, that's probably fair. It's not, like it's not bad enough to really totally just eviscerate, but it's not good enough to recommend. Assuming you could even find it, it's just the uninspired titles makes it hard to find on the platform. Like it's on it. We watched it on Amazon. I just it came up in my recommended. So and
with that day we sat down to watch it, it took me a while to even find it. On Amazon Prime, because I brought up another bunch of movies named Getaway, including the other 2021 that came out. And eventually I found it. I was like, okay, this is the one that we were looking for.
Like this summer, they're all ending up on the cutting room floor. Like it didn't have any. They missed so many opportunities.
I think another one of the things that it kind of falls on its face with is you think Maggie is you always have to have the final girl or at least the final person, and they kind of switched it on its head where this girl that was shrill and dumb that we didn't like at the beginning turns out to be the final girl at the end, who's going to be offered up in butchery to these two killers. And you think, I'm like, oh, okay, this is our final girl then. Someone that we never really cared about this entire time. So in fact, I was hoping for a more positive outcome, that, she would get the jump on him, but no, she just kind of like laid there and got stabbed. And that's how it pretty much ended. I think. How did it? Oh no, the Lando gets killed too. I don't know. There's some big thing. Lando and Maggie kind of go at each other after killing off the last person. They argue. I just want to make sure I'm getting these character names right.
Oh, I don't.
I know I got Lando right. I know I got Lando right.
Got Lando.
Oh look, I just looked on IMDb and it brought up the other goddamn Getaway film.
Yep. You got to look for the one that was released in 2020. That'll help you narrow it down. But we haven't even touched on the acting prowess of what is his name? Hank Stone. What a make him up name that guy's got. Like he was, which longtime listeners of the podcast will recognize him from Last Shift. He was the crotchety old cop in Last Shift.
Oh,
kind of a high point in the movie.
He was in this movie. I forgot all about that he was in this movie.
Yeah, and he's just basically like, you kids ain't going up to that place. It'd be haunted or whatever he said.
Well, there's two doomsayers in this damn movie, because there's that woman they ran into as well that was just like, if you go up there, you're going to be killed. It's doom. And I was wondering, how do they know that? Because the killers were actually the kids themselves. So
yeah.
They obviously didn't have forewarning to know that the two people in the group were killers. So what lore are they going off of, unless they're just saying, this is Camp Crystal Lake, shit's going to happen? but it
Yeah,
wasn't
and
his
then
fault.
but then it makes sense because then you get killed by. Well, I mean, they turn that one on its head too. But yeah, like there's that. It never comes up again. It's a total red herring.
Yeah, oh, total red herring. And it just makes you wonder, like, oh, okay, well, I don't know. So I was pronouncing it wrong, anyways. It wasn't Maggie, it's Maddie. Maddie.
Maddie,
Yeah,
Maddie.
Maddie, and Lando.
Yeah,
The
like
amazing Lando.
yeah, like there's just, I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for words. There's not a hell of a lot to say here. They go on their film project. They find a mask. It's painfully mediocre. Like even movies that kind of borderline irritated me that were way better was like that Christmas one that we watched, that Santa Bloody Santa or
Yeah,
Christmas Bloody Christmas. Like
yeah.
that was had some irritating characters in it, but it had just way more juice in it than this one. There's just
Yeah, for
like
sure.
I don't know, like you gotta I don't know, you got to spend more time on your script, people. That seems to be
Well, yeah,
like one of
10
the
years.
main criticisms of the movies that we review.
I
It's just
always yeah, I agree. I always think you have a script that's been sitting in your desk for 10 years. Let's pull it out, maybe read through it again instead of just immediately throwing a shot list on it and going out and filming it. It's like, no,
yeah.
let's work on it a little bit more.
I know. I mean, like maybe bring the well, because you said some of the actors helped punch up the dialogue, so they probably had to do it right then and there. It's like
Yeah.
bring in people for a script read and have them. A little easier said than done.
Yeah,
I
easier
realize
said
when
than done.
you're,
Yeah.
like I realize it's easy for us to sit here and say how your movie could have been better,
Yeah.
but I've said it before and I'll say it again. It doesn't take any money to write a good script or to really dig through it and be real critical. Show it to somebody. It's going to be like, well, this doesn't make any damn sense. Like, what's their motivation for killing anybody? Why are
Yeah.
they killing people? Like,
Well,
there's got to be a reason.
that was the thing. It's like, I guess the reason that I could discern from it was that it was because of the breakup, and there was some infidelity going on. There's something going on, but to me, that's not motivation enough to go on a killing spree and just slaughter everyone. Even
Yeah,
screams, even the mighty scream, the
yeah,
motivation for the killers to go after Sydney and her dad just because her dad had a affair with so and so's mom. That was weak to me. I was like, is that enough
yeah.
reasoning to go on a killing spree to just because someone had an affair with your mother? I mean,
Yeah, you're right. A lot of these slasher movies don't hold up to that kind of criticism. Because same thing with and I liked it a lot, but same kind of thing with Thanksgiving when they reveal what the killer's motivation is. It's like, okay, I kind of get it, but the stuff that he did in that movie was just like you'd have to really want to do that to people. It was beyond the pale.
right. That was something that was lurking in his psyche for probably since he was a child. And finally, that was the catalyst to release it all, because I
I
don't believe
know.
anyone would go through those extremes just because your ex lover who happened to be pregnant was murdered in a stampede at Walmart.
I know. It's like it'd be like if my former boss screwed me out of my like unemployment. I'm gonna roast him alive in a convection oven.
I may sign him up for some pornographic emails or put his name onto the dark web or something. But other than that,
I mean, send him one of those chocolate ding dongs in the mail. Like, there's places just for that. That should be
right,
one of our sponsors,
a
actually.
flaming bag of poop.
Yeah. Eat a Dick Incorporated. I think that it is. Yeah, I think that's a thing. But yeah, get away, folks.
Get
It's
away. I did look up some Amazon Prime reviews on this, by the way.
nice.
So I found a 1 star. This is from LJ.
Oh.
The title of it is "Oh So Horrible," except my cousin is pretty funny. Uh, so this is like actually probably not that bad for a college drama project, but not something for real theater. My cousin, who wasn't taking drama courses, somehow was cast as one of the kids, and it's pretty fun. That's the review.
You couldn't even get a good review from somebody that's adjacent to the movie.
Related to the project. This is a 3-star review from Ikem, IKEM, and this is one where Ikem, I guess it. Let me just read it.
Yeah.
He's got 3 stars. Title is "This movie barely made any sense." And it starts off, it hardly has a meaningful, interesting plot. It's just a bunch of college kids with their stereotypical young adult drama trying to survive attacks by a killer. The ending was totally unexpected and surprising, though. Maddie was the mastermind behind the whole thing all along. Just totally spoils. So I have trouble piecing together some of these reviews from people. Like the guy who's related to a person in the movie gave it a 1 star, but someone who thought it didn't make any sense gives it 3 stars and gives away the ending. So the Amazon review system is so funny.
Well, it reminds me of this buddy of mine. Like, you know, a month after Sixth Sense was released, he was like, "Yeah, I just saw that movie. Which one was it? It was the one where it's the one where the dude from Die Hard is a ghost the whole time." It's like, dude, I don't have to see it now.
Hey, spoilers, Clay, we could have to put spoiler warning for Sixth Sense up on the.
Yeah, that dude's a grandfather. The kid in that movie is probably a grandfather by now, I think, if you haven't seen it.
I like Haley Joel Osment. He's always he's still in like stuff today. I heard him on Comedy Bang Bang. And they call him HJ, they call him Hand Job Osment.
Oh God.
But he loves it. He rolls it. But I digress. This movie, getAWAY. getAWAY is streaming on Amazon Prime. Now, this should not again be confused with getAWAY, which came out in 2020 as well, which involves a bunch of women going out into the middle of nowhere and getting killed.
So look for the tile with a scarecrow with a knife in it. That's the one that you want. When you're,
the other getAWAY. Yeah, the other getAWAY has like a girl on the front with a knife behind her back, and it says "getAWAY," and then the tagline is "To survive, she must kill."
Oh yeah, I spent about 10 minutes like writing down notes on that movie and realized this isn't. Watch this one.
How come I don't remember anything that happened?
None of these people seem familiar at all.
Well,
I mean, the best recommendation that I can have is totally self-serving. If you want to watch the movie, watch our commentary with it. That's the way you're going to have fun. You know, if you don't have friends of your own, we'll be your surrogate friends for the day.
We'll definitely be your surrogate friends. We'll have your babies too if you need us to. I don't know how.
Yes.
We have little test tube jars and jars.
I'll push it right out the old pee hole.
Well, I guess that's about it for getAWAY.
getAWAY.
And so that was our recommendation on it. I don't think we entirely hated it too much, but it was just kind of a meh. You know, it's a low budgeter that, you know, you can have to suffer to get through if you're watching it by yourself.
There's so much better ways to spend your time, but by all means, watch getAWAY if you want.
All right, until next time, everyone. I'm Jason, and that's Clay over there.
Peace out, y'all.
We're Cinematic Suffering. Bye.
Like, subscribe. Bye-bye.
Like, subscribe. Yeah.
Like, subscribe. Bye-bye.
Like, subscribe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.